parents, and welcome to the State of the School. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Erin Matson. This is my third year as board president and my fifth year on the board. Most of you know me as Wesley's mom. Wesley is in fifth grade. However, I'm also an alumni of the school. I have very fond memories of playing in these giant tractor tires on our playground and ice skating on the pond, which always makes me think that we should have a raise the paddle event to free the pond. But I know that would never fly with our school attorney, so he would be cringing at the mere thought of that. But many fond memories of the school. Anyhow, I always look forward to the State of the School presentation because it forces me to really reflect on where we are as a school, where we are as a parent community, where we are as a board, and where we see ourselves headed. And in my reflection this year, I returned, as I often do, to my initial communication to you at the beginning of the year. At that time, I was asking you and the board to complete the phrase, Montessori is blank. In that particular communication, I filled in the blank with kindness, compassion, empathy, joy, unity, and understanding. And in my communication to you prior to the winter break, I filled in the blank with Montessori is unmanufactured holiday magic, which I have to admit makes me chuckle a little bit because I still have my Christmas tree up. So I don't know if I'm still trying to hold on to that magic, but it is in fact still up. So here we are in February, and I've included a quote from Matilda, the book, the play, the movie, it's everywhere. I know it seems random, but I'm currently producing the play at Aurora Community Theater. And I love the quote. Somewhere inside all of us is the power to change the world. And as I think to this particular quote and then revisit our phrase, I want to add a word. Montessori is belief, right? Belief in a child, belief in our child, belief in a methodology, belief in a particular pedagogy, belief in the planes of development, where apparently I was informed at the middle school open house by Huck Ford that my son is about to enter the adolescent plane of development and return to toddler-like behavior. Awesome. Belief, as we would have seen in the first video, but belief in the feast, belief in pumpkin pie in a cup, belief in the Miss Honeys out there, belief in a child's rebellion against the Miss Trunchbowls. Matt, I am not suggesting that you have any commonalities with Miss Trunchbowl, but you all get my point. We are here because we believe in our children, we believe in our teachers, we believe in our head of school, and we believe in the Hudson Montessori community. Montessori is belief. And hopefully for you, that includes belief in a board, which if we can move to the next slide. You will see a board, a list of names, but a board that is committed to working diligently, hand in hand with Matt to make sure that in every facet we are thriving. Folks, we have an amazing board. And if you need belief, I'd encourage you to head to our website and read the individual resumes of our members. I am constantly in awe of not only their expertise and their experience, but their dedication, enthusiasm, and utmost care for our school. On tonight's agenda, we're going to provide you with a board overview, a financial update, a head of school report, and a few closing remarks. We will have time at the end of our presentation for questions and answers. And for the question and answers, there will be final instructions on the final slide as well. But we will ask that you submit questions privately via chat to Max Rosenwasser. fellow board member and alumnus. You can either directly submit your question or ask Max to call on you, at which point you can unmute yourself and ask your question. And certainly, I say this every year, but if we are not able to answer all your questions tonight, you are always welcome to submit questions to our board email, and we will reach out to you individually. Similarly, if you are interested in ways in which you can contribute to the school or serve on the board, we would welcome those emails as well. I would even welcome your email to hear your personal completion of the phrase Montessori is. So with that, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your interest, your time, and your support. Let us now turn to the mission statement. Always a useful reminder for us as to why we do what we do. And I'm going to hand it over at this point to a fellow board member. I believe Carl.
Yeah, hi, my name is Carl Vaden. I am a Board of Trustees member for my 5th year, first year as a secretary. My 2 children are alumni of Hudson Montessori. I have one right to the left of me. And I apologize for any background noise. I'm actually at HMS right now for piano lessons for my son. So if you hear anything in the background, that's what that is. But on to the mission statement. The mission of Hudson Montessori School is to foster a Montessori educational environment conducive to each child's unique qualities and abilities for the development of social, emotional, and reasoning skills that are essential for a lifetime of independent, creative thinking and learning in the world community. Next slide, please. You'll see that the strategic plan helps HMS realize our mission statement. I won't repeat the mission statement on the left, but you'll see that the values and the vision do reflect that mission statement as we go through it and you follow along. Values, everything we do is aimed at fostering children's self-realization of their own worth and potential, helping each to become lifelong curious learners, courageous and compassionate leaders, and students of humanity. And our vision, HMS will be an outstanding learning community that fosters values in children by providing a rich and challenging curriculum, attracting and retaining vibrant and inspired faculty and staff, caring for our beautiful campus, and building a sustainable financial model with healthy enrollment and a strong culture of philanthropy. Next slide, please. And finally, our strategic imperatives, which in a general sense speak to how we implement our strategic plan. And you'll see those at the bottom, sustain program excellence, invest in passionate and effective faculty, broaden the HMS impact, and ensure financial stability. And with that, I will hand it off to the next speaker.
Okay, I think that's me. Can everyone hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, I apologize for any background noise as well. All of a sudden it's raining and I'm in my car. So at any rate, I'm Jennifer Ray Tomasek. My family has been at Montessori at HMS we're on our 20th school year. All 4 of our children began in Children's House and went through 8th grade, and we're on our 4th and final child who's in 8th grade now. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our priorities this year. Just a quick mention that many of these are the same from year to year. But specifically this year, we're looking at, of course, financial oversight, including the budget analysis, tuition setting, investment opportunities with the school's funds. Also, we have the important job under governance. We play an important role in the ISAC's accreditation process, which I'm sure you've heard, rumblings of that we are undergoing this year. Of course, professional development for our board and bylaws revision has been a huge priority over the last year as well. And then certainly every year we have head of school evaluation that we are responsible for. Additionally, this year we have paid attention to some strategic planning, and that has included things like campus footprint expansion opportunities, a nod towards sustainability on the campus, and then certainly really important issues regarding talent and human resources and technology assessment for our school. And so with that, I believe Lauren is up next to talk a little bit about finances, if I'm right.
And I will note that I've made a note that we'll be making some investments in technology courses for the board here coming in 2023. My name is Lauren McLaren. I am co-treasurer of the board. I have a co-pilot, Trace Tisler, who's also on the line. I've been on the board for 2 years, and this is my first year acting as treasurer of the school. I have 3 children at the school. Audrey, my oldest, is in Miss Wexler's class at 3rd level. Ella is in Mrs. Case's class, and Griffin's is in Children's House and Mary Blatnick's class. We could flip to the next slide, please. So if you can imagine, the finance committee is really intertwined in many of the aspects that Jennifer just reviewed. So it's kind of fundamental to everything that we're doing at the school, from the strategic planning to governance. But kind of the key items that the finance committee is responsible for is, budget setting, budget approval, budget review on an annual basis. We're also in a phase of strategic planning for the school. So thinking about, future investments for the school, how we're going to expand the school, different items like that. We also, are involved in setting annual tuition rates, financial policy oversight, and on an annual basis reviewing, being involved in the audit process and reviewing the audited financials. Trace and I, as I mentioned, are co-treasurers. We also, Erin Matson, Eric Lynn, and Marissa Ray sit on the finance committee and provide wonderful guidance to the committee and to the school as a whole. Internally at the school, we have school administration that sits on the finance committee, which includes Matt, Jackie, and we have a external third-party firm that helps us with the bookkeeping and the financial reporting, and Clifton Larson Allen. Next slide, please. So in general, we're optimistic about the financial position of the school where it stands today. We've seen significant increases in enrollment recently. There's opportunity in retaining those families within the school. The schools also continue to expand their program offering. So, through the summer programs, the Conservatory of Music, after school programs, we continue to expand our offerings within the school. And we're also very committed as our teachers to becoming Montessori trained, which ultimately benefits the whole entire school community, most importantly, our children. So we've been able to provide training to our teachers that are interested, and additional, Montessori training. The school sits in a fairly healthy cash position at this point in time. So we're tasked with, how we're going to deploy that cash, make future investments inside of the school, and make sure we're good stewards of the cash.
I was trying to listen to this.
What's that? And then I think, another one of our strengths is our close-knit community. So our teachers, our faculty, the board, our families, and our students are a real strength of the school. Where we see some challenges is, I think, kind of everyone is feeling the challenge of inflation right now. So inflation is obviously something that we keep a close pulse on. And then competition for talent. So making sure that we're attracting, retaining, and keeping our teachers, happy. Where we're seeing, we've done a competitive analysis from a compensation standpoint. We're not so concerned these days about teachers leaving our school to go to a competitor, but we're seeing teachers leave the field. So, making sure that we're staying on top of, what's a attractive benefit package and what our teachers need. And then our other, concern and challenge for the future of the school is facility and space considerations. We have an aging facility and we're fairly at capacity. So we're thinking about, continually thinking about, how we make updates and changes to accommodate the needs of the school. One of the big items that, you know, we have on our plate is tuition considerations, making sure that we and Matt and the administration has, you know, enough money to operate the school. We need to make sure that, you know, we're staying in tune with, you know, tuition and where we need tuition to be. So we do competitive kind of landscape analysis on, you know, where our tuition's at. We consistently look at enrollment, you know, our talent, our teachers being, our administration being largest portion of our budget, you know, what we need to do to make sure we're retaining and keeping teachers. And obviously we're looking at inflation. So there will be an increase in tuition for next year, probably in that 3 to 4% range, depending on, you know, the different levels of the school. We can jump to the next slide. These tuition rates will be reflected in the contracts that will be sent out in the coming weeks. So you'll see this information reflected in those contracts. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer, you know, questions about tuition at any time. Next slide. And lastly, I just wanted to thank our community for the continued support. We can't say enough about how important word of mouth advertising is for the school. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate our community continuing to do that. We appreciate the continued support of the Hudson Montessori Fund. It's not the size of your gift. It's, you know, we're really looking for participation in the Montessori Fund. So we appreciate everyone's consideration and contribution to that. This year there will be no auction, but there will be an art show. So we hope everyone can join us at the art show. That will be our fundraiser for the year. And then we also ask, you know, anyone on the call or in our community that has a company match, please consider, you know, Hudson Montessori for your company match. And also if anyone's interested in, you know, hearing more about the Board of Trustees and what we do or has interest, we would welcome those conversations. So again, I appreciate everyone being on the call tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So I think this is my portion for the head of school report. I before I jump in, I guess a couple of things that I'll note. One is that Lauren mentioned a member of our Board of Trustees that's on the Finance Committee that was omitted from the slide that had all the board members, and that's Melissa Ray. Melissa is a general board member and sits on our Finance Committee. So I want to make sure that we draw attention to that. Also want to note that tomorrow, as a parent, you will get an email. It will have information about next year. One of those things that will be in there is how you can pay your deposit for next year to secure your spot. And it will also have a calendar for next school year. So it's not the most detail. It's not the full calendar, but it's the bones of a calendar so that you know when school starts, when it ends, when vacations are going to occur, so that you can begin to mark those down on your calendar. The last 2 years, I have been usually doing a state of school report heavily focused on COVID. And so I'm really excited to say that's the only time that I'm going to mention COVID in this head of school report. And so that is a relief, I think, for all of us. And what it does allow us to do is really talk about what has in many ways been a normal school year for us, which is wonderful. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of that normalcy, which has been welcome, and then also begin to talk about some things that we look towards in the future. So first thing that I want to do is echo what Lauren was talking about in terms of enrollment. Our enrollment as of today is 249 students, and that is from young children's community through middle school. And so that would suggest that enrollment is strong. Our programs at the Young Children's Community and Children's House are fully enrolled. Lower elementary is near capacity. We have capacity in upper elementary and middle school, but we anticipate opportunities for growth in the coming years, which we're excited about. So each day when you drop off your children for school or walk them in, we have a full and active building serving infants. We have infants in the school on Monday morning, which is they come with their parents, through 8th graders who are all generally taller than I am. Also, I want to talk about, Lauren also talked about the importance of our employees. And also Carl talked about making sure that we're making investments in them and their knowledge of Montessori because of its importance of our mission. And so we have continued to do that this year. We pride ourselves in providing ample professional development for each employee. Interestingly, it seems that more and more professional development is done online as opposed to conferences that we go to. And it's not to say that we don't have people that go to conferences, but this may be, I'm going to try not to use that word, but it might be after that pandemic that we lived through. So there's a shift in how people are learning and continuing to grow themselves. And we've noticed that. But we also are making sure that we are sponsoring teachers that are interested in and that we feel are qualified to gain Montessori certification. And we established about a year and a half ago the Molly Eisent White Teacher Fund. That's named after one of the founders of our school, Molly White. And we've raised well over $100,000 for that to allow us to sponsor teachers to gain Montessori certification. And so in this past year, we have had teachers in the young children's community, Children's House, elementary and middle school that the school has all sponsored to develop their Montessori knowledge and gain certification. So we're proud of that and the importance that it plays for each child's experience every day, as well as the mission moving forward. We also, in the strategic plan aspect and as in the finance update, we talked about improving our facility. We pride ourselves on a really beautiful campus that we have available for our students, and the strategic plan has on its sites the needs to preserve and maintain our facility and campus, and ways to enhance it as well. And we've been working on that this year in this regard. So things that you would have seen inside the building, perhaps, we have been in Children's House classrooms and YCC classrooms. We have been removing old marmoleum floors and carpet and replacing it with new flooring in all of those classrooms. We were also able to install age-appropriate play space for our young children's community students in the courtyard for our toddler program. And last year, many of you gave generously to the HMS Green project at our auction in March. And if you recall, it had two areas of focus. One was to install improved drainage in the back play area of the playground. That did occur last summer, and I think there might be a collective eye roll because everyone still had muddy snow pants that came home today. And I would say that I did clarify last year that it doesn't just mean that we won't have mud. It just means that it will drain quicker. When we have about a half an inch of rain that comes down in a half an hour this morning, it's going to result in mud, but it has allowed us to drain that back area more rapidly, which has been a benefit. And then the second area that we raised money for the HMS Green was much in needed repairs and improvements on the concrete walkways around where the green and the building meet. Unfortunately, last spring, basically right before they were supposed to be doing that project, our contractor removed themselves from doing that work for us, which made it impossible to do it last summer. However, we are ready to complete the work this summer, and we are actually looking at enhancing the amount of improvements that can be made to the concrete to extend around to the south side of the building near the activity room and Mrs. Case's room to replace some sidewalks there, which we're excited about. A lot of what we do is because of the support that you give, parents give to our community. Earlier, Lauren mentioned the Hudson Montessori Fund. This has been a strong year for the Hudson Montessori Fund. To date, we have raised over $120,000 for the Hudson Montessori Fund. And additionally, I talked earlier about the Molly Eisent White Teacher Fund. This year, the picture here is of the Randazzo family. The Randazzo family is like the Thomasak family. And in fact, at our fall parent social, the Randazzos and the Thomasaks gave a really thoughtful toast and encouraging us to support the Hudson Montessori Fund. And obviously that work, given the support that is created. And the Randazzo family made a challenge gift right around the winter break of $21,000, representing $1,000 for each year that they have had a child at Hudson Montessori School. And their $21,000 went to the Molly Eisent White Fund, which will allow us to train teachers. And that was only made once other families, other donors gave to the Hudson Montessori Fund, which we were able to do in just about 1 month. So that was really exciting, and we thank those who gave and also the Randazzo family. One plug that I'll maybe make in terms of giving support, and you'll see more about this come around tax time, is that this coming year we'll be sharing a way that you can receive a tax credit from the state of Ohio and pass it through to HMS. So if you are a person that typically pays income taxes to the state of Ohio, they have a program whereby currently it's $750 for an individual, or $1,500 for a couple, that can be set as a credit to your tax, what you pay taxes to the state of Ohio, and it can come straight to Hudson Montessori School. So this is a new development in the state of Ohio in the last several months, and many independent schools have started it this last year, and we will be doing that this coming year, which we're excited about. So our program is intentionally designed to help children grow and thrive at the various developmental stages. I really appreciated that Aaron mentioned the planes of development. That is something really key and important to what we do each day here at Hudson Montessori School. And our teachers are specifically trained to understand those planes of development, the developmental stages that children are going through, and to help them grow academically and socially. And we do this in a really special and beautiful campus. My hope is that either after this meeting or just in time that you have to yourself, that you can reflect on the growth that you have seen in your child this coming year as a result of HMS. Another indicator of our success is something that's occurring right now, which is exciting, is that our 8th graders are finding out about their placements for high school. And those have started to trickle out, and they will be coming in the next week or so. But we expect it to be a strong continuation of what we have always had, which is independent high schools that really desire our students and want them to be part of their high schools. So last year, 100% of our graduates secured acceptance to the schools of their first choice, which we consider to be a real strong indicator that we help families select the right schools, and that we prepare the students for those environments. So looking towards the future, earlier in the presentation, you heard some mention about the board's role in the ISAC self-study accreditation process. And I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about that and to make sure that you understand the importance that it does play for the school. The ISAC's accreditation and self-study process comes to us because we are members of ISACs, which is the Independent Schools Association of the Central States. Among the many things that ISACs does is that it accredits independent schools on a 7-year continuous cycle. We are going to be up for reaccreditation next year. And to prepare for that process, we have used this year to do a deep dive assessment of all areas of our school through a process that we call a self-study. Our employees, all of our employees, members of our board, and members of our student and parent community have been working on this year on reports that look at on aspects of all of our school, from governance to administration to program, that will be compiled for our full self-study, which we anticipate will be done by the end of this school year. The self-study will identify strengths, challenges, and plans and priorities for our school community, and that we will spend then the rest of our 7-year cycle working to implement those plans and priorities as we come up for our next reaccreditation about 8 years from now. One thing that I did want to highlight is that earlier this fall, we asked you to participate in a constituent survey. It's something that every school needs to do as part of their self-study. It's a survey that is provided by ISACs. And the nice thing is that when you get your data back, you can compare it to benchmarks of other constituents at other independent schools in ISACs. So it's a really good way to kind of peg where are we as a community in terms of how people in the survey respond. And so I don't want to bore you with too many numbers, but I wanted to share a few since these are parents on this Zoom call. I wanted to highlight a few responses that you as parents gave. 100% of parents at HMS said that the school has a commitment to moral values and character development. 99% of you said that each student is well known at HMS. 98% of you said that HMS supports academic achievement. And 94% of parents were extremely or very likely to recommend our school to a friend, neighbor, or colleague. I think those are really impressive numbers. I think what is more impressive is that every one of those was statistically higher or more significant than the ISACs benchmark. And that was something consistent from parent feedback throughout our entire survey, is that parents viewed our school better statistically, that's what the survey would suggest, than the ISACs benchmark. And fortunately, there were no areas where it was seen as deficient, which is positive. So I don't want to suggest that our school does not have challenges or opportunities to improve itself. It absolutely does. But it does reflect that our parents are pleased with our efforts on behalf of your children. And for that, I'm really grateful. So the self-study, I said, is going to be completed at the end of the school year. We'll have a visiting team on site next fall. ISACs has already identified the visiting team leader for that visit. It's a head of a Montessori school in Chicago that will be coming in and leading that visiting team. They will spend time on campus for about 3 days, and they will ensure that we maintain our accreditation, and they'll give us feedback on our plans and priorities. And this will tie back to where we started this presentation. It will be, our plans and priorities will be focused on enhancing the mission of this school and the strategic plan that guides us. So I look forward in the coming years to providing you with updates on progress during our annual State of School meetings as it relates to the information that comes out from the ISAC self-study. And my last slide is thanking you for being a part of our community. I think the work that my colleagues and I do each day is really important. It's really challenging, and it's really rewarding. I think at the end of the day, when we see the growth in the students of HMS, it really scores that our work is more of a vocation than a profession. And I appreciate all that you do to support us in this work and this vocation. So with that, I thank you for being, again, a part of our community. And I'm going to turn things over to Sadia, who will close us out for our presentation before questions and answers.
Thank you, Matt. That was, I love seeing all the pictures as you were talking. So thank you for putting our kids in all those pictures. Hi, everyone. My name is Sadia Salim. I'm a Hudson Montessori school parent. I have two kids currently at HMS. Sophia is in 6th grade and Aiden in 3rd grade. We have been part of this wonderful community for the past 9 years. I have also been an HMS trustee for the past 4 years. Currently, I'm the chair for recruitment committee. I would like to thank you all for joining us for this meeting tonight. I know weeknights can be really busy for us. I myself just got home from a very thrilling basketball game where our very own basketball team, the HMS Owls, were victorious against Lippman School. Go Owls! As always, we welcome your thoughts and ideas. Please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any questions or comments. Also, please reach out to us if you're interested in joining the board. I look forward to seeing you all at many of the fun activities planned by the wonderful Family Network, especially the HMS Art Show on April 15. I'm looking forward to that. Have a good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us again. I think that, yeah, there's one more slide.
Yep, thank you, Sadia. This is where we're just going to head into question and answers. So, Max, if you want to direct how people submit questions or if someone wants to be called on, I know we did get a question in our chat stream. And I believe that was from Steve, which said, how close are we to 100% capacity? Maybe broken down by levels. If we max out capacity, do we have plans to expand? So Matt, maybe you can answer the breakdown of capacity at the various levels, and then the board can answer the question about potential expansion, or you could answer both, but.
I can weigh in first on the
Sure.
capacity. So yeah, I think, as I said, we consider YCC and Children's House to be at capacity. And lower elementary, Steve, is probably 90% plus. Upper elementary is probably about 80% capacity. Those are rough estimates. Middle school, I think I saw Huck, I don't know, maybe it was Liz on this call. So Huck and I actually were discussing this yesterday, is like what do we see capacity of middle school? Historically, we have had, I think like 1 year we were 30 plus. And so this is where I'll maybe drive. So we are not at that. We're 2021 students in middle school. So we do have capacity there as well. I guess what I'm suggesting is, I don't know if there's a known capacity number in the middle school. And this is where this does go into, if you're talking about expansion of facility, like that would maybe call into question the need for facilities expansions for middle school, because part of the capacity issue would just be the bodies in the middle school and the space that they need. Erin, is that fair for me then to pass it back maybe to a board member? I'm also happy to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I think certainly with those numbers and percentages being so high, that is a focus of our strategic planning, is the campus footprint and expansion. So the board has tasked itself with examining and assessing our needs. We do have houses that we currently rent, which could be potentials for expansion. We don't have a lot of ability to necessarily build upon our current structure, but it is something that we are actively thinking about, and just trying to figure out ways we can expand, because I was going to say, should the need arise, but the need has arisen. So, which is a great problem to have at this point.
We also have another question,
Okay.
saying that it's great to hear so many of those positive survey results, and not very surprising, but they would like to hear more about some of those areas and opportunities for growth, or challenges that you are considering addressing as a part of future strategy.
So the self-study is still in process. So we have a self-study steering committee. Rachel Hamilton, who's a YCC teacher, chairs it. Lori Householder is on it, as well as Jackie Burdett, and I sit on it. And so we are currently in the phase of reading drafts of the many reports that comprise the self-study. There's about 20 of them. So I can't comment on final plans and priorities, but we have recently been focused on administrative reports, and I can tell you that we talk about just what Erin was talking about, like the need to maintain our facility and make sure that we can accommodate growth. We have talked about the importance of being able to attract and retain teachers, and what that means, like what it looks like to do that well. There's also been elements of just making sure that you heard me say earlier that the work is extremely rewarding and important. It's also challenging, and so making sure that our teachers who are extremely dedicated are feeling supported, and that they have a way to be rejuvenated and focused on what they need to do every day, which is focus on the children. And so elements of like a work-life balance. So I won't commit to those being necessarily word for word what I just said in the self-study, but those are things that have come up. So one thing that you noticed is I didn't say program. The self-study steering committee has not moved into the program committees yet to look at those. And program committees would be, what goes actually on in the classroom, and those will be for us to review between now and the end of the school year.
And Matt, I know I can speak to the governance section just a little bit, and board matters. And where I see, strength and opportunity for the board is we really did hit a pause button for 2+3 years due to the pandemic. So, our challenges and opportunities are sort of to right ourselves. And, we sort of push pause on strategic planning for a couple years, and we now have reinstituted our strategic planning oversight committee. And there were a couple other things that we pressed pause on that we are starting to re-engage in from a board perspective. So, challenges or strengths or weakness, whatever you want to call them, I think just getting ourselves out of the pandemic will be one of our focuses as a board.
Hey, we also have another question about diversity and whether there was any feedback on the diversity of staff as well as students in the parent feedback. Specifically thinking about racial and financial diversity, and if that's something that's on the radar of the board.
I don't have the survey results as they relate to diversity right in front of me. Yeah, I do know that there's a committee. I think it's called Equity and Justice Committee. And it does look at diversity, and it has noted the opportunity to increase diversity amongst our staff, especially to reflect what we actually think is compared to demographics surrounding us. We're looking racially is a diverse community, and so the importance that plays for all members of our community to see diversity amongst our employee group. I don't have the financial information off the top of my head to see if that was something that came through in the survey as being identified as important. So I apologize.
I know from a board perspective too, we certainly in the recruitment process of board members do focus, and I know Sadia could speak to this, but we do focus on a wide range of diversity when recruiting members, whether that be age, race, parent, non-parent, alumni, experience. We really try and make sure that we are a well-rounded board. So that I'm speaking to that. Factor
Agree.
specific. Yeah.
I just say agree. And even as a student body, we live in Hudson and the surrounding schools are Hudson, Aurora, Twinsburg. If you look at the racial diversity of the student body, you'll see a lot more diversity at our school than you will. And we make whatever we can to make people from different backgrounds feel included. You can see that in our holiday program at Lower Elementary, our cultural cooking. So I think the opportunities are definitely there. And I can say from my personal experience, we feel a lot more comfortable here. If that makes it any difference.
Thanks, Sadia.
Other than that, we don't have any questions in the chat. But I'll just give everyone a last opportunity. If you do want to send something my way, feel free to ask.